Alrighty, if you've been on these before, you know the routine. If you can, type in a 1 in chat box. If you can see my screen, it says welcome to Call Zoo Coaching Call, and you can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me loud and clear and see a picture, just please type a 1 in the chat box, and then I will get started right on the top of the hour. We got lots of ones there. Okay, cool. So I will go ahead and get started officially. And let's just give, I see people still piling on. So let's just give a minute or so for people to pile on here. We've got a lot to cover on this coaching webinar, so it'll be a good one. And lots of exciting things to announce as well. So I'm pretty pumped about this, so you should be as well. And we're going to cover some core concepts here. Stuff I think you've heard before, but never quite delivered in the same manner. And so we'll get started here. I'm going to go ahead and start here and take a quick drink, and we'll get going. Alrighty, my name is Chris Winters, and welcome to the Call Zoo Coaching Call. Today is March 31st, 2016. I just got back from 14 days of travel in the U.S. The first time I've been back in, 4 years. And I can tell you, when I first landed in JFK, all I wanted to do was get out. That's just me. Nothing against you. If you like it there, it's fine. I was immediately pulled aside by immigrations for no other reason than I have a whole lot of stamps on my passport, and I've been gone for 4 years, so I must be up to no good. And I'll tell you, it's always a little bit scary when you get pulled back into immigrations, because once you're back there, their classification of terrorists just so broad they can fit anybody into that peg. And they asked a lot of really uncomfortable questions. Not that I have anything to hide. I'm completely transparent with everything. Taxes, money, businesses, where I travel in the world, and everything. It's just that it's uncommon, so I must be immediately suspected as a terrorist. And in the past 4 years, I've traveled to over 55 countries, and in every single one, I've never had one single iota of a hesitation passing through. In fact, when I came back to Barcelona, I was just immediately welcomed back. I was actually welcome back, Mr. Ray. Welcome back, and quick stamp, and I was through immigrations like in literally 20 seconds. In the U.S., it's 45 minutes of interrogation, and when I got out, I'm telling you, I wanted to shake it off because I just didn't want to have that anymore. But it was hard to shake off. I really felt like I was intruded my rights and everything. But anyways, enough of that. So, look, I want to kind of go over a little bit about the Vegas event. It was the first time I'd done something like that. And based on the feedback, not my own opinion, but the feedback of others that went, it was a really good experience. If you don't, just ask members in the groups that went, or see some of the posts in the Facebook group. It was good. And for the members that came out there, it was a pleasure getting to know anybody, seeing everybody face to face. So you can't replace face to face. And the way that I ran that, the workshop was the way, if I was going to, I always thought of all the events and stuff I've been to, how would I want one to do if I could do my own ideal one? And that's exactly what I did. I mean, everybody was fed healthy food. You just brought right into my world. Everybody's brought healthy food, and we did work. We did work. How about that? And I think the other things that a lot of people didn't realize there was, even though we did work hard, there was time before and afterwards, because we're all inside one environment, that you get to interact with other people that are of your same mindset, that are headed in the same direction you are. And that's really valuable. That's hard to find, because sometimes you can't find that at home. You're in transition, so you can't find that from other places. It's so important to be around that mindset. You all know it. Don't need to beat over a dead horse here, but you're a makeup of the 5 top people that you hang around with. I mean, if the top people you hang around with are employees, you'll be the 6th employee. If the top 5 people you hang around are, critical and victim-like, you're going to be the sixth one that's going to be a victim as well. If the top 5 people that you hang around with are millionaires, guess what? You're going to be the sixth one. So it's so important about environment. So anyways, with that, I wanted to announce the Barcelona event. I'm super excited about it because this one's just going to be 10x the one it was in Vegas. And for those of you who are new or wondering or not quite sure what this is about, look, if you're an active part of Callzoo, paying member of Callzoo, these are free to you. You just got to get your butt out. That's all you got to do. These events are workshops. You need to bring your laptop, your extension cords, and ready to work. These are not events where you're going to sit back and just kind of take in stuff, get pumped up, and leave, and then do nothing. No, that's not what we do here. And what's really exciting about this one is that although Vegas is a fun city and accessible for a lot of people and so on and so forth, a lot of people that I talked to didn't even have their passports. So just to attend this event, they're going to need to get their passport, which I think is an incredible step and an absolute requirement that the human being on this earth have a passport. If you've never been to Barcelona, it's an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous city. I don't think you'd find many people in the world that would argue that it's not. So this is a time you have 6 months to plan out. The dates are hard set, and I've got some to be announced later. Really exciting stuff going on with it, but. This is going to be another thing. I'm taking everything that I learned from the first event and the feedback. I asked individual people, the group, and individual people of feedback, and so on and so forth. So I really want to 10x this and take it up to the next level. And I really want it to be. I want these to be biannual events for members only, where they come to work and learn. Okay, not to sit and get pumped up and buy shit from stage and people selling crap. That's not at all what I want. And it's not going to be that way. So this is purely workshop. This is going to be around hanging around other people of like-minded sets. And because over here from Europe, and I have some friends and I have more time to plan it, we'll have some really cool people come in and also do like workshops like we did with this one. We had William come in, which is a super honor. He totally donated his time to come in. He's a leading expert at LinkedIn and particularly getting leads from LinkedIn for local businesses. He is the expert at it. And he's been doing it for the past 5 years. And he came in and he just spilled open just for 4 hours. And then at the end, he did all kinds of unexpected things. He offered to actually, for the top 3 people who just took action on it, basically completed their profiles, that he would just take the phone calls and close the leads for them. So this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of things that these events attract. You just got to get your butt over here. That's all you got to do. Once you're here, and I would definitely stay longer than from the 23rd to the 25th. I'd do whatever you can to extend that before and afterwards, because how often are you going to get a chance to come over here? Well, if you make your dreams come true, then which anybody has the capacity to do. Then as often as you want, but let's face it, it's going to be really good. So I'm super excited about it. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm announcing it now. The dates. We had some people at the event in Vegas ask for the events and made a pretty strong argument for announcing them sooner than later. So here they are. They are announced. What else can I say about it? Well, basically, at this, what I'm going to do this time is I'll be putting up some kind of register. I need to talk to my team. We'll put up some kind of register. So you register in. There'll be some kind of very small deposit. It's basically just skin in the game. You get it right back when you come. That's only because what I'm doing this time is for the first basically 4.5 months, I'm going to be registering and booking people, and then I will rent out a space, a venue, something personal and close that we can all share and be together. And there's some really cool places we can do that here And so obviously I need commitment. I don't need people saying, yes, I'm in. And then the last minute, oh, I'm not. And 20%, no, I'm not. And then that's, 30 or 40 rooms that are not there. Right. So, anyway, that's more than a fair enough request, and it's a requirement. And then I'll be posting some things in the Facebook group as far as what people, are willing to do. I know in the Vegas event, people really liked the idea that, we had all healthy food. People there had never had bulletproof coffee. They'd never even made their own coffee before. Stuff like this. Had never just seriously just eaten like clean, like all day long. And it makes such a huge difference because, as one of the members out there said, it all starts with the body and the mind, then it works out. And so I think people got to kind of experience that. Some of them already. There's people who are certainly experts at that. Anyways, that's it. Let me move on here and get started with today. So, I need to move something out of the way so I can read this properly. And here we go. So what I want to start today with on here is I really want to start with the idea between a employee versus a entrepreneur and the mindset that takes place here. So I really want you to pay attention to this. And when you're listening to some of these examples, don't let your natural defense say, oh, I'm not an employee mindset. Oh, of course not. And just ignore the message that's been going on here because you'll miss out on the benefits of it. Okay. Because we have been led up and really raised or grazed, however you want to quote it in there, to be employees. That's what the entire school system is about and everything like that is to raise people to think, follow directions, and basically become really good factory employees. That's really, anyways, I won't get into that kind of discussion. It's a whole lot different, but that's really what it's about in here. So an employee really thinks about the work as it's kind of a business. Employees about a good day's work. And then they get hard work, and they get a good day's pay, and they get to go home, and that's really it. That's what it comes down to. And ideally, if you've got a company, that's the kind of mindset you'd want to hire. So there's nothing wrong with that, right? An employee also, they're supported by this kind of structure on this, the foundations. Good employees tend to gravitate towards good companies that have nice structures, and the holiday sets in here, and they have sets and rules and regulations as far as overtime and vacation and structures in the business and rules and what you do and don't do's and all that kind of stuff. An employee is really kind of a doer first. A good employee, that is. They've studied the manuals. They've taken a test. They understand exactly how to do their job because you've given that to them. You've given that structure to them. And they're good at that because, quite frankly, they've trained their whole life to take tests for the one correct answer. And then they're recognized by their classmates or their employees of getting an A, or doing really well in school. It all ties in. An entrepreneur, in that sense, is a planner. It's a planner first, not a doer. It's a planner is really kind of a fortune teller, somebody who looks in the future on here. It really is a visionary for the company on this end of it. He builds strategies for the employees. Okay. Employees are the tool. The customer is not the most important thing in a company. See, that's what we all hear, right? Because we all hear that from the employee perspective. The employee always learns what? He's always told what? Oh, the customer is the most important. But guess what? That's not the case at all. Because as an entrepreneur, I can tell you this, the customer is not the most important. In fact, is the least important in the world. The most important to me, and I'm not like isolated here, but any entrepreneur who owns a business will tell you this. The employees are the most important thing. Above and beyond employees any day of the week. In fact, when I used to run call centers in the Philippines, I used to own them. I would come in there and it'd be like the first, I'd give them a little intro speech, blah blah blah, and then I'd hand it over to the manager. But my intro speech to all the employees was, I'd introduce myself, the company, what's important to us on that. And then I would ask a question. I'd say, by show of hands, who's the most important person in the company? I would say, who is the most important person in the company? Who can raise their hand and tell me who's the most important person in the company? And without a doubt, Man, it'd be like 75% of the room would just like raise their hand. Well, I know, Mr. Winters, I know the question. Okay, what is the answer? I point to somebody. The employee or the customer is the most important. And they kind of act kind of smug, like they got the right answer. And say, oh, I'm sorry, that's just not the right answer. The customer is by far not the most important person. Anyone else like to try? All those hands would just slowly sink down. I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And there'd be silence. I'd say the most important person to the company is not the customer. I would say the whole thing you heard about the customer is already a bunch of bullshit. And to talk like that to Philippines is just like, it's shocking. And they just kind of cringe back and go, what the hell's going on here? What kind of company are we working for? They'd all get worried because right now before their eyes, the reality is being crushed. And I'd say, no, it's not it. The most important person in the company is you and you and you and you and you. And I'd walk down the aisle and say you and you and you and you. Every one of you, you are the most important person in the company, not the customer. And then I would get honest. And I would say, let's be honest right here. Let's be totally honest. Let me ask you another question. And I'd say, may I ask you another question? Raise your hand if I can ask you another question. So I get buy-in. Everybody raise their hand. It's a Tony Robbins trick. Anyways, so I get buy-in. I'd say, okay, let's say that you and one of our customers is stranded on an island. It's a small island, and there's only enough food for one of you. Who's going to get the food, the customer or you? What are you going to do? And I'll never forget one time an employee of our company raised her hand and she said, Mr. Winters, I know the answer to that. She said, I would honestly take all the food for myself, and after I was done eating the food, I would then kill and eat the customer. And everybody was shocked, but I was impressed. I said, that's exactly right. She's being brutally honest on here. So anyways, she later excelled in the company, by the way, because she got it on here. So you're a planner on here. You understand that you're not building customers. You're not trying to service customers. You're building employees and structures, a secure and safe environment that they can follow structures because that's what they like to do so they can service your customers the best that they can. Got it? Okay. So an employee focuses on what his or her responsibility. I think we've covered that already, right? That's what that's what they do. A good employer knows their responsibilities. They know when they're doing a good job and when they're not on their own, even without being told, if you have a strong enough structure for them. As an entrepreneur, that is your job. Okay. As an entrepreneur focuses on, all the responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. You get the point on here. But wait a second here. I can hear the resistance out there right now. A lot of you are thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I'm an entrepreneur on here. I don't think anything like that, right? You don't think nothing like that. You can't even, you're so distanced from that, you can't even think about that way, right? I would argue that, well, then maybe at best, it's just a little tough love here. Maybe at best, you're a solopreneur. What the heck is a solopreneur? Let's check it out. So a solopreneur versus an entrepreneur. Really, a solopreneur is just this. It can be a freelancer. It can be it can be a lawyer. It can be somebody who has their own business, just selling leads by themselves to businesses. Hint, hint. Basically, it's just an employee that works from home, often more than 60 hours a week. Okay, that's a solopreneur. Okay, let that sink in for a second. Alrighty, so an entrepreneur builds a business that can be sold, or they can build a business such that they can step away. So somebody pointed this out at the event. This was like on the third day. Somebody pointed this out in the event, and they said, I've noticed that you've been here for 3 days, and you haven't done any work other than just stay here and stuff. And that person was rightfully so, because I built a team that I can just step away. And I'm not talking about a 4-hour week baloney, because I don't believe that kind of stuff. And I've got videos out showing about that kind of stuff where I've been on vacation and, stuff blows up. And so I got to stay up all night long because, I'm the one that's going to do that kind of stuff. But anyways, so basically a solopreneur just builds more work, more frustration, and ultimately health problems at the end. So you really need to focus and examine this and say, am I an employee or am I a glorified employee, which is a solopreneur, or do I build things that last beyond me, which is an entrepreneur? Do I build systems? Do I build jobs for other people? Do I build jobs and value for other people? Do I build jobs for other people and those people deliver value to consumers? That's really what it is. You need to step away from that. And so one of the things, so this will transition into the topic of today. So one of the things that we really emphasized and went over this weekend was, and we did during the workshop, was everybody had to do a job description. Everybody had to send it out. We all had to do training videos, everything. It was a workshop on here. And for a lot of people, it was the first time they kind of stepped away from that. So I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to address a few upfront concerns right away that people are thinking. I guarantee right now, the majority of you are thinking like an employee or a solopreneur. And this is what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, oh my God, I don't possibly have enough work to hire a VA. And I'm going to explain to you right now why that's one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make. Now, look, I want to be completely transparent and honest with you right now. I got nothing to sell you. I'm not going to like slip out a course on how to hire a VA or any of that nonsense. This is all included in your, measly $29.99 a month. Okay. So this is really for your own good. I'm really after, teaching and passing on the knowledge and stuff that I know to others so I can see others change their life. And the people who attended the event this weekend, they got to see and feel that firsthand. So you're getting some of that extended out. It's just consistency. It's congruency with the way I am and the way I act. So anyways, one of the things that you're definitely going to be, you're thinking right now, the majority of you, is that I don't have enough work to possibly hand off to another employee. Well, I have two reasons for you to seriously consider rethinking that. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, because the nuts and bolts here, if I just jump right into the nuts and bolts and the ABC, how to do this from soup to nuts, you're going to resist it all the way because the whole time you're thinking, I can't afford it. That's going to be another thing I'm going to address. And the other thing is, I don't have enough work. Okay. Or you bought into one of those shitty, crappy courses out there, that tries to sell stuff like hire an employee to make an immediate profit so that you can afford them. It's such a bunch of baloney. Is there any company in the world that does that? No, of course not. So, it only happens in the imaginary, lifestyle, click here, make riches, baloney, which I'm totally sick and tired of, by the way. And this is another thing I'm trying to pave an entirely different path into this industry because I still have 1 foot in it and 1 foot out. So let me I'm going to share some stories with you, not about me, about others, and their experiences with their journey with hiring and not hiring VAs. So we had some guests. We had some really special people come to the event, and I gave some assignments, some work assignments, like you're going to do it like now kind of assignments. Not here, it's an assignment, just do it on your own, blah blah blah. No, like you do now. And one person in particular there got it all done and then some in like a few hours. Like the next day had it all done. Like you wouldn't believe it. Like website, video training, PF, documents, everything. And no one else did. But that person only worked 5 minutes to get it done. And the rest of the time he got to spend there interacting and focusing on the event, on the people, and growing his business. And you know why? Because he already had VAs. He already had done this. He had already built his dream team. Okay? And that's what we're talking about here, building your dream team. Look, if you're going to go out and, if you can relate to sports, then you can, you want to go out and build like the best basketball or football or soccer team or whatever. What are you going to do? Are you going to go out and just pick people randomly on the streets for this? Are you going to pick your friends and neighbors? Are you going to pick your coworkers to, get a little pickup game going? No, if you want the best of the best, you got to go out and recruit them one by one. And that's it. And it will make such a difference in your life. So we had a couple of superstars from within the community volunteer to speak at the event via Skype, and both of them had many things in common, but one thing was that they grew their businesses to the point to where they don't do a job. They're completely out of the entrepreneur. They are some maybe 1 foot in the solopreneur, 1 foot into the entrepreneur stage, but they had good people working for them. There's somebody in the industry that probably a lot of you know. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but not too long ago, a couple years ago, contacted me and was a no name, knew nothing, really had a good product, and just asked for some advice. And I didn't need anything back. I could tell they had a good product, and just a couple nudges here and there, they'd be off and running. And one of the things that I advised was, look, you got so many moving parts going on in your business right now. Who do you have doing these tasks? And they said, nobody. I said, you need to hire somebody, not just one person. You need to hire like 5 people right now, like immediately. And that person did. And that person went from, maybe 100, 50, 100,000. I don't know what the beginning was. I know what it is now. It's millions in a couple of years. Why? Because they hired people, and they did one thing that was really special. And this is the same thing that Dan Kennedy advised for me to do as well, is hire superstars, like the best of the best. It's like you're trying to hire a Michael Jordan. You're trying to hire a Mesa. You're trying to hire a Cristiano Ronaldo. You're trying to hire the best of the best of the best. And even if you don't have work for them, or even part-time work, once you hire them, then what does that force you to do? Let's say you get just part-time work, but they're there for 40 hours, 50 hours a week, and you only have 15 or 20 hours of work to do. What does that force you to do as a person, as an owner of your business? It forces you to move the heck out of an employee mindset and to like fast forward past a solopreneur, which is what most entrepreneurs call themselves entrepreneurs, but they get stuck there forever, and they just get health diseases and problems, and they're overworked 70 hours a week, and it's just like a misery. But they're a glorified entrepreneur, and that's not what they are. They're an employee. It's all they are that works from home. So how do you fast forward that and move on to a true entrepreneur that builds systems, builds jobs for people who then build outstanding service and value to customers? You hire employees for which you are now forced to be in a position to act as a true entrepreneur, which is find business and work for those superstars that you've hired. I hope that sunk in, because that's like really, really, that is, I just can't, it's just more, it's such the truth that I don't know, it just is, it's period. And if you're going to let your fear and your doubts come into play, like, oh, no, there's no way I can do this. Think about all of the freaking tasks you've got to do within this business model on here. Yeah, you can grunt it out and be the solopreneur and, be proud of really a hard day's work for a hard work day's pay. I'm earning my own way. You can get all stuck on that, on your high horse on that, right? But what are you going to end up with at the end of the day? You're going to end up with 78 hours of work sometimes, 60 some, 50 the other. And you're not going to be able to, you're not going to trust. The immediate thing that comes up is, oh, but I can't give them my admins and username passwords to other people. Are you joking me? Look at Starbucks, McDonald's, and everything like that. I mean, are they worried about giving the managers and stuff access to open up the storefront? Or are you going to drive around to all your storefronts and like open them up for them? Oh, because I can't trust you with the keys to open it up. And this is analogous to like your money sites and your private blog networks and all this kind of stuff. I hope you make that connection. So you need to let go of this stuff. This is a complete mind shift on here. And no one out there is teaching it. You know why they're not teaching it? Because what they're teaching is this. They're teaching you how to buy a course on how to hire employees. I'm about to show you step by step on how to do it. There's no glory to it. There's no fancy this and that to it. It's just nuts and bolts, period. This is what works. So let's go ahead and get started here, because I could just rant on here for like the next 2 hours. Okay, Dream Team, this is what it is. You want to first do this. You want to list tasks that you can outsource. This is an exercise, and I realized that when we did this live, because I've never actually asked people and seen them face to face and struggle on their face to like list the tasks that you want to outsource. You want to list every freaking task you can possibly do to outsource, so it 100% frees you to do what? To only focus on the growth of your company. Now, if you're worried about, sending backlinks and meta tags and, a 500-word article and this and to a page, that's not working on your business, ladies and gentlemen. No. That has nothing to do with that. You are not even a solopreneur at that point. You are an employee of your own company. Okay? So you need to list out the tasks on here and expand it beyond just everything that's done in this course. Because look, everything that is done in this course is 100% outsourceable. Okay, and there's literally hundreds and thousands, if not 1 million or 2 people out there that know all these tasks or can at least learn the 20% that maybe needs to be. The rest they already know. I mean, what are the core competencies, right? You kind of need to know your way inside and out of WordPress, right? And if you know that, you probably already know, but don't assume it. You're pretty good at hosting, right? So you just host a domain, you know how to do cPanel, this kind of stuff, right? Simple stuff, which you don't need to be doing. Basic Photoshop skills, super easy. Basic writing skills, really easy on that end of it, okay? And able to follow directions. That's pretty much the key of it. That's it, okay? Because, as far as the, got to know SEO, I've already broken down SEO to about as easy as it can possibly get. It's basically just a network of private blog networks with some good content and a link going back out to your site. I mean, that's it, okay? So it can't get any more basic than that, but it's time consuming, all right? So you need to list those out. You need to list out the task of the ideal person that you want. And I'm not going to write out the list for you because you really need to kind of start to make a mind shift and understand what about your business. You need to start thinking like, look, this is exactly my point right here. I just thought about this. There were people like asking me like over and over again, Chris, can you just give me a list of tasks that I need to give my outsourcer? What kind of question is that? Is that an entrepreneur question or an employee question? That's an employee question that needs structure and step-by-step of how to do something. I'm asking you just to think a little bit about your business and the kind of tasks that you want, the kind of dream team person that you want to do. If I handed you a step-by-step list, I would be doing the misfortune of keeping you in the employee mindset. I hope you appreciate that. Seriously. Okay. So you want to think about this one dream player's position. More than likely, it's going to be a generalist. If it's the first person you've ever hired, it's going to be a generalist. You're going to want them to be able to write content, to set up WordPress for you, to do like headers, to maybe do a little tiny logo. Nothing crazy. Okay, just really basic skills that, quite frankly, the average teenager today knows. Okay, and they got to be able to follow directions. That's really what it comes down to. Okay. Job descriptions. So let me just, I'm going to put this in the replay, but let's see here. That's not it. Let's find the other one. Job description. Okay. So this is just an outline. Do not think like an employee and go, I'm going to copy this word for word, step by step. This is just something to get your creative juices flowing. Remember, you're looking for your favorite star, your favorite athlete to run in your company. That's what you're doing right now, okay? And if you're thinking, I can't afford it or I don't deserve it, then you got to get out of the shitty thinking, seriously, okay? You deserve it. Guaranteed hours on here, permanent. Anyways, I'll put this up in here. You want to list this stuff out. This is just a guideline. That's all that it is on here. Duties on here, and so on and so forth. This is important. You want to do this. I will include this in the replay. Okay, and so let's go ahead and move on from here so we can get to questions and stuff. Okay, so in addition to that, in addition to the description, what you need to do on here, one of the questions in there is that they need to quickly summarize what their duties are. That's one of the instructions. If they can't follow that, then they're like gone. They've just weeded themselves out, and you've spent all of 3 or 4 seconds screening them because it's going to come into your email box. Okay, so this is how you screen them out. And then you're going to add these additional things to the task there, okay? So here we go. It's really important that they own English language. I hire from the Philippines. I would suggest you do the same too, but you can certainly expand out to other countries. Anyways, so the reason that the spoken English is so important is not necessarily for the writing skills, although that's going to naturally help, right? It's because of the communication between you and the people who run your company. Okay? What happens, I've made this mistake myself, like so many times, and I've gotten frustrated and thought, geez, these people just can't follow the directions. What's going on with it? I just don't get this. Why are they not understanding this? You know why not? Because they don't understand English. They pretend like they do, and they can speak just enough to make you think they do. But when you're typing in something and you got a little thing going on, you got instructions going on, you got to understand if they don't have a mastery of the English language, they may be absorbing 70% of what you're saying. And they're going to make up the other 30%. That's not communication, folks. Okay? That leads to frustration. So that's what it's done. So what are you going to use to make sure this? It's this right here. Where is it? Bam. You can use any tool you want. This is a free one on here. Come on here and you have them. I'll show you the instructions in a second. Have them here. They just click to record, makes an MP3 file, and they upload it. You let them figure out how they're going to get this file to you. It's a simple MP3 file. If they can't figure out how to attach it to an email and send it to you, you don't want them, okay? Don't give them every single step of the way, all right? That makes sense? On this end of it. And all you're going to do on here is that you're just going to ask them on that end of it to just call or just record on there and just tell a little bit about themselves. That's really all you want to do because you just want to make sure that they know how to talk in English. And you can tell, right? I mean, you can tell when someone has an accent, but obviously, right? You can tell when someone has an accent, but you can also tell when they have an accent and you two are like communicating. You can also tell when someone has an accent and like you two are not communicating, right? That's what you're looking for. Got a second layer in here. This is the second one on here. This is really, really super important. So the ability to document their work. What do I mean by this? So what you're going to have to do is, you can have them go to Jing or Screener or whatever, and literally put it that way. You can use Jing, Screener, or whatever on-screen software you want to use, and give them a very simple task that will require 5 minutes or less for them to record how to do. For example, on here, have them make a 3 to 5 minute video explaining a task such as how they would install a SEO plugin into WordPress. Just one kind of task, nothing crazy complicated that they should already know. If they said, you know what, I raised my hand, I'm an expert at, WordPress. Okay, great. Then tell me how to install the breadcrumb plugin and how to ensure that it works. Something like that. I mean, you just a real life task in here. And really what you're looking for is you're testing for 2 things. The first one is you're testing the bullshit meter. Are they really good at just doing basic stuff at WordPress? That's it. And number 2, you want to make sure that they can make simple yet effective and easy to understand instructional videos. Why is this so critical? And no one else in the world is talking about this. I have no idea, but this has been a lifesaver for my business. Is that I need each and every one of my employees. We have a private, basically membership site for employees, and it's a living, breathing, constantly growing document that every single employee has to document and update the tasks or the strategies or the process or the systems that they use in their particular task. And what this does is this creates an ongoing, living, breathing employee manual that's in video, and also in step-by-step. I like to do video, and then below that I have them do a quick, now in here you don't need to do the quick PDF because we're already asking for a lot of tasks here, but eventually they will. If they can do if they can pass this number 2, they can easily write a quick bullet point in PDF form and just put it below. So anyways, and this is a living, breathing document. There's a part of your document so that why? So that you're not the one creating it, okay? You're the one that's able to step away because you're building a place for employees to work and earn their money, and they earn their money by providing value to the customer. And what's your job? Your job is to facilitate a structure so all of that happens, okay? You're not a paint by numbers, step 1, step 2, step 8 person. You have to get out of that mindset. And you'll see that in my language within the group and Call Zoo all the time. It's like, you know what? If you need a step-by-step instruction, if you need, if you have to have a perfect agenda of exactly what the Barcelona event is going to be like, then this is probably not the event for you. I can tell you what it is, the overview, the vision of it, because I'm a visionary. It's a place where you're going to come and interact with others like-minded, and you're going to work. If you need to know more than that, then this is not the event for you. Then you need to go on to all the other events out there that are more employee-based mind, that are going to be out there. They're going to have a whole list of speakers, and they're going to sell you a bunch of shit. That's not my agenda, okay? Let's move on to the next task. This is a really important one, but don't make it too challenging. Just make a real existing one a real challenge and problem that you have in your life, because you want problem solvers. Okay, that's what you want. You want doers and problem solvers. So give them a real example, a real challenge that you have in your business. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to make it something that, that's some kind of mind twister. Just a realistic, real problem that you have. It can be so basic. Just make it. Say, look, I've got a problem here. It can be something as basic as this. I'm so busy with other tasks and stuff. I need somebody to help me with finding airline tickets and doing my online shopping for groceries. Please help me find a solution for this, or create a step-by-step process. And if they can't figure out a solution, they just, I'll just look on Travel Velocity for you, find you the airlines, you give me the dates, I'll give you the top 3 lowest on here, let me know if you want first or economy, blah, blah, blah. If they can't come up with stuff like that, you don't want people like that, okay? But you want to give them real existing challenges on here, and I get some examples here, but I'll just move on. Written tests, something really, by this point, you know what, if they can speak, and you've already had 2 chances to see them speak and see them organize their thoughts as far as creating a document, very short video training on here. This is just like a little thing. So I would just do like 150 words. And quite frankly, it's harder to express yourself in fewer words than it is more. So this is actually, may look easier, but it's actually more challenging. So have them write something like 150 words on any topic that you want. Okay? And I wouldn't even include in there the content must be 100% original, because I would just take that content and I would just take the whole 150 words, or I'd just take the first 2 sentences, copy and paste them right into Google and see if those mofos tried to just find something on the internet and just like change 1 or 2 words, because that's not the kind of person you want. That's it. So you're going to take just the outline of the document, which is basically just a description of the job, how many hours a week, all this kind of stuff, a description of the qualifications for it, and a little bit of instructions in there to have them summarize what it's about. So it's just letting you know, hey, can you follow freaking directions? Because this is a shocker for you. Are you ready for this? 95% of the human population cannot follow directions. Just telling you. And then you're going to give them these 4 little tests at the end. What happens then? They're going to send if they did it all correctly, they're going to send it all to your email, and you're going to get all this stuff. And the first thing you're going to do is what? Bam, right here. You're going to listen to their MP3, how they're speaking. Just have them tell them something about their childhood or something. That's it. Then you're going to go, wow, that's pretty darn good. That was an entertaining story, and I totally understood what they said. So I think I'll just listen to the second thing they sent. Oh, okay, here's their ability to document their work. Wow, they made this cool 3-minute video on how to do this. Wow, this is really, you know what? I'm impressed. Okay, so we'll just move on to the next. They give a great written example here. And this, you know what? Only then do they move on to the last and final step. If they don't pass any of the other stuff, this is a filter that, guess what? You don't have to do. You just have to put it out there. The responses you get back, you can filter these out in a matter of, literally seconds. So here we go. It's the video Skype interview on here. It's only the top candidates that pass all this stuff. You can do a video Skype interview. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, I need a step-by-step manual on how to interview these people. No, you don't, because you're not an employee anymore. You're just going to interview them. You're just going to talk to them like human beings. Maybe you might tell them how you like some of their stuff on here. Maybe you might want to reiterate some of the things that you put on here on that, and just have a conversation with them. And just you'll pretty much already know if they pass all this stuff, because you know why? You're going to be totally shocked at the percentage of the population that cannot follow these directions. And the ones that do are pretty special people. So by the time they get to this point, it's pretty easy cruising. This is gonna, this is not going to take a month to do. Unfortunately, this is going to take months to do. That's just a fact. Sorry, it's just the way it is. I don't want to set you up for reality on here. And if you look at any big companies that are hiring for like top managers and stuff, they take 6 to 12 months to hire. All right. So you're way behind if you don't have something on here. So, and the next question is, where do you look? So again, I'll have all these up. These are not like the only places to go to find employees. I mean, there was people within the group that just immediately submitted to Craigslist and got answers and responses back quite soon. Whether they passed through the test or not, I don't know. But these are some of them. Of course, you can get them in these slides when we're done with this. But let's go ahead and move over to questions and answers. So let me open up the chat box on here. And yeah, okay. So let me just open this up on here. All right, so I'm going to just grab it. Yeah. My throat's getting drier now, only because I think I just got back from Vegas, and my lips were getting dry there and all that kind of stuff. So the environment definitely drier. And of course, other places that I'm staying like right now we're pretty much always next to the coast. Alrighty, so let's dive into here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, just bear with me here. I'm just going to copy and type these questions in, which was a suggestion by one of the members. Okay, so the question basically is on here is, what criteria would you use to hire the first employee? I think I already answered that. And how much would you pay? Pay above, and I would put in there, we pay above normal salary, because you just want to like right away just weed out all the riffraffs that are like unqualified and willing to work for less. That's not the kind of people you want. Okay, so look. And I know y'all want specific numbers out there. So, and I can only answer this for the Philippines, because that's what I hire in, and I just simply can't. I haven't hired outside, so I can't answer those questions outside. But for the Philippines, well, I can answer for India, but I wouldn't do that. And nothing against India. It's just it's more. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So you're looking at on here. Most of them are going to be like shooting for like $4 to $5 an hour, and I would do something like offer the standard asking wage of maybe $5 with a structure of quickly moving that up to $6 and $7. They will be an absolute lifesaver for you. You have no idea until you've experienced this. It will just blow you away. It's like all of a sudden you'll just wake up in the morning and you'll never have to build a website, do a backlink, write a blog, nothing. So what are you going to do with your time? Think about that. That's all that this business that I'm sharing with you is about. It's about building sites, building private blog networks, sending backlinks in, some social accounts that you'll build, all the little nitty gritty technical stuff like the profiles and the proxies and stuff. I mean, all that stuff is just step-by-step procedure stuff. You don't got to wake up and do none of that stuff because you've got people in place that are going to do it for you. Okay. It will completely change. It'll force you to say, you know what? Now I got to grow my business. You got to be focused on the right thing at that point. I'm going to grow my business. It's not like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I got to type into support again and blah, blah, blah. That's such a painful way to live. Please stop it. All righty. So to answer, I think I answered the question as far as price. Most of them are pushing for around $4 to $5 an hour. You can certainly offer that up front and then immediately let them know that it's going to be more at a later date, depending on performance. Let them know it's full time. This is the right place to work, so on and so forth. Okay, going through these. The job. Okay, so someone on here posted the job post, samples, please. They want to know samples, and outline's not enough. So what kind of question is that? An entrepreneur question or employee question? It's an employee question. Get out of that mindset, please. Because if I posted you step by step on exactly the things you got to do and exactly that, then what does that put you in? It keeps you in the mindset of a consumer, which is I'm going to continue to buy product after product and shiny object, and I'm going to keep myself in the mindset that I'm going to be an employee, and I'm trying to pull you out of that. Okay? You either appreciate it or you don't. You know what? I'm really not. I'm just. I'm sincere. It's if you don't feel it or see it, then I don't need to do anymore. I'm just going to be me, and that's it. Yeah, here we go. Here's another one from Toby on here. Toby says, it takes 20 minutes to explain the task of a VA. Written instructions also takes 20 minutes to execute the task. Is it worth outsourcing? Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, question. What would you pay them for 3 hours a day? Okay, this is a good one. I need to put this question in here because this is exactly the kind of mindset. And, look, sometimes I do this from time to time and I do get backlash from it. I appreciate the questions that's sent in, and I'm not particularly pointing at anyone. I'm just pointing at the actual question itself as though the group asked it. Okay, so this is nothing personal on here, but this is a perfect example of what would you pay them for 3 hours a day? No, you're missing the entire point of this entire exercise if you're just thinking, oh, I can only pay them for 3 hours a day. No, you're paying them full time, and trust me, if you just think about this for a second, how many cities should you be in this business? How many cities should you be in? 2 or 3 or 1? No. You should be in at least 50 to 75 cities in the U.S., then grow into another 20 cities in Canada, then grow into another 4 or 5 cities in AU, and then another, I don't know, maybe 20 more little smaller cities in the UK. You've pretty much covered all English-speaking countries, and you haven't even tapped in to the rest of the world population, okay? And yes, you can do this all under one master domain. Is there not full-time work in that? Yeah, there's more. You'd actually need about 100 employees to really be able to execute that on a super fast level. So one employee will be overwhelmed when you give them those kind of tasks on here. Okay, so you have more than enough full-time work. Your job at that point is to make sure that you're bringing them enough business. Okay, that's it. You don't have 3 hours of work to outsource. You've got 40 to 100 hours of work to outsource. You just don't know it. A little too real for you? I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry, but it's just, that's the way it is. That's a fact. Okay, so here's a good one on here. I like this one because it's very common. I like all the questions, by the way, and the feedback. And for some of you that I kind of come back hard. It's just tough love. and you need it. And if you get on the defense, then you're missing the whole message. Would you go for a company that manages VAs partly? Again, here comes the partly, part-time on your behalf. They have an official setup. No, would not. Absolutely. It's not worth your time. They're going to be the most inefficient. They are not going to be the Michael Jordans. Okay, they are not going to be those kind of people on that end of it. You're going to want to take the time to do this. This is understand your real job, okay, is not building private blog networks, is not building sites, is not even getting, is none of that stuff. Your main job, I'm telling you right now, is to build a company for people to work in, and those people provide values to consumers. And you're providing the structure for that to take place. That takes a vision, and that takes your own full-time work, but your own full-time work on the right tasks. What are you paying your VAs? Do you do performance-based on here? Above what everyone else is paying on here? No, I don't do performance-based. But yes, you want to take the time to Google Philippine holidays. You want to make sure they get their holidays on that end of it. And you need to understand that around Christmas time, that if they've been with you for a year, that they get 1 month of pay. A 13th month is what they call it. And if someone works for you for 6 months, then give them half of that. If someone works for you for 4 months and Christmas comes up, you do the math and narrow it down from there. Good. Joe says on here that a Skype interview has saved endless amount of mistakes. Definitely mandatory. Abso-freaking-lutely. Not only the video Skype, but and it says on the top of the interview or part of the job descriptions, they have to provide their IDs. And any place that you're going that I've listed on here or others that somebody's supposed to, they post their resume, and then they're responding to your job positions. That's part of their service. They've already provided the official documents, and you're going to get them in like a color PDF or something like that. You have to have their IDs. Just trust me on that. I don't want to get into it. Getting sales and acquiring prospects. Okay, so getting sales and acquiring prospects. Okay, so this is really a question that, as far as I feel, that the group as itself is not ready for, but I'll address it because everybody wants to be thinking about 20 steps before they're there. So anyways, so the way that we do our sales is basically a 2-step process. Okay, well, actually 3 if you want to get a little bit in our nitty-gritty. The sales process is extremely easy when you're doing this business. The reason is that you really have to understand what you're offering here. You're offering a service that literally zero of every single marketing company out there is offering. You are going to be saying, hey, I'm going to give you 3 free leads for the next 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or 7 days maximum. Absolutely free, delivered right to your phone. And you're going to know when they are because you're going to get a little message right before you pick up the phone that, hey, this is a lead from Chris. Remember, I talked to you the other day, and then transfers over. And you're going to be able to log in to a little back end. Let me give you the URL. Here's your name and password. And you can actually see the calls, and all of them will be recorded there. There's no question the value we're going to be delivering for you. I'm not going to call back in 3 or 4 or 5 days and say, hey, how did you like that? And you're like, well, I don't know. It's going to be concrete, black and white, data-driven. And you're not just going to hand that over to anybody because, quite frankly, you're going to get some tire kickers. You're going to get that handed over to somebody. You're going to hand that over to somebody, which would be very hard to say no to, especially if they actually want leads. And then what's the catch? Well, the catch is this: it's just a trial period to get to know each other with zero risk for you. After that 0 risk time is over, you don't have to move forward. But if you decide to move forward, which everybody does, then this is what it's going to cost per lead, and this is how it's going to work, period. If you don't want to do it, I've got a list of 10 of the other competitions here. Here's their names, blah, 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 blah. You won't even get through 5 of them. If they say, whoa, okay, I got it, I'll do it. I'm interested. because we only work with one. Pretty easy. Now, that's not a real sales call, by the way. Okay, it's not. So you can easily outsource that. Now, I wouldn't outsource that to the Philippines or any other country. I would only outsource that towards the country that the person that you contract for in. So if it's in the UK, I would hire somebody from the UK. If it's in the US, I'd hire somebody from the US, just because there's so many little tiny little nuances, and you just have a few seconds, milliseconds sometimes. You don't want anybody to screw it up. And it's so worth it. So you can easily go on Elance or whatever they've merged and named it now. I haven't used them in years, but whatever they are now. And you can go in there and you can look for telemarketer. You type in telemarketer. You're going to get some awesome people with like 100 or 200 reviews and like they've worked like 5,000 hours. Those kind of people you want to hire. They're usually going to be about $20, $30 an hour. And this is going to be the easiest sales job in the world. They're going to be so professional, so structured. They're going to know exactly what they need from you. They're going to say, hey, I need your script. I need to know what we're selling here. I need to know what we're doing. You give that to them, boom, they're off and running. You're going to give them your city that you're in, and you're going to give them the list of the top 20. Not you. You have a VA do this, right? So you're going to have your VA give the list of the top 10 or 20. Whatever it is, roofers or whatever it is your niche is in the city. He or she is gonna contact them. She's gonna do her bit. It's gonna be an easy sale, okay, and that's it. You're done, okay. That's method number one. Method number two is going to be, actually, it's just two methods. I was gonna say the third was you can call them, but I don't want you calling them. I want you to hire someone else. And so the second method is going to be paid advertising. So you're going to do paid advertising through a combination of AdWords and Facebook, and you deliver them to a squeeze page. But look, if you're not ranking on page one right now and getting leads, don't ask me any more questions about that, because what the question you need to be asking yourself right now is, why don't you have any VAs and why aren't you ranking on page one? Not what is the sales process. Got it? Okay. Okay, Paul, thank you for joining. How much is the monthly payment? It is $697 currently up front and $29.99 a month. If you have any further questions about that, contact my support@callzoo.com. This is a training session. It's not a sales session. Do you segment? Yeah. Okay, good. So this is another good question on here. Let me just copy and paste it. Okay. So the question is, do you segment your team into certain tasks on here, like website builder, link builder, sales admin, sales team? Once you get to a certain level, yes. But in the beginning, you're going to be hiring your first one or two or three people as just generalists. And usually your first generalist is you're going to try to groom them into a manager, but don't force it. If they're not qualified for it, then don't force the situation. But the tasks are so basic in the beginning. I mean, seriously, you don't realize how many millions and millions of people in the world can just run circles around WordPress, run circles around Photoshop, and seriously run circles around just writing some articles. I mean, some pretty darn good articles. And doing some meta tags and SEO pack stuff, and they can simply follow directions on Firefox profiles and proxies. This is all basic stuff. I mean, what you don't realize is that 95% of the population out there knows all about proxies because that's how they watch Netflix. It's not available elsewhere. I don't know if you realize that. It's not available. Most of the things that are available to you in the U.S. are not available to other people online. It's blocked because of proxies, so they use proxies. So everyone knows all about them. So in the beginning, I would start out with the 2 or 3 generalists, then I would have a head generalist, and I would start to distribute that work out as can be. And I would always make sure that you've hired more people than you have work, because it forces you to put you in that uncomfortable situation where you got to do what? You got to act like an entrepreneur. You got to grow your business. Yes, exactly. Your business will grow on their time if you provide the right structure for them. because employees like structure. They like to know exactly when I come to work what I'm going to do. They want to know exactly when I'm going to take a vacation, when I can do it, and how I do it, and exactly how I'll be compensated, etc., etc. Can you talk about how much? All right, let's see on here. Let me just copy and paste this question on here. All right, so we're getting a lot of good questions on here, which means there's a lot of interest, and I totally appreciate that. So we're headed in the right direction, right? So on here, can you talk about how much of a bad idea it is to think you're going to hire someone and they're going to immediately start generating income and business for you? It's a horrible idea. The reason is because they're not in charge of generating business for you. You are. You create the system, so you drive the business to them. And when you drive the business to them, they take care of all the little nitty-gritty stuff. All the little ticky-tacky. I got to do a Firefox profile. I got to do the proxies. I got to get my Gmail, phone verified. I got to put an article up here. I got to, what's the ratio of the backlinks, anchor text on here? Is this one going to be a naked link? Blah, blah, all that really mind-numbing stuff that people who've gone to school for years love to follow tasks, just enjoy doing, and they know it's a good day's work, and when they're done, they're done. There's nothing against them. It's just that you and I we're not those kind of people. Okay. How to report this on U.S. income taxes? You don't. They're an expense. They're a total expense. I'm sorry, you don't. They're total expense. And I should add a caveat. I'm not a CPA. So you need to ask your own CPA these questions on here. Okay, so this is a good question. I'll just throw this in because most people will never answer it the way I'm about to. Okay. Just give me a second to... Okay. So, Chris, how do you keep focused on the entrepreneur mindset versus the solopreneur or the employee mindset? I'll tell you how I do it. Do this. Fly first class, even if you can't afford it, because you're going to get in the mindset right there, because you ain't never going to want to go back and coach again, and only employees do the coach. Okay, everybody in first class is not an employee. You're going to want to join the finest health club that you possibly can. I mean club. Okay, so like the club I belong to, even if you can't afford it, do it. It forces you into the mindset. Hire employees. This is how you also keep yourself motivated. And the entrepreneur mindset instead of the solopreneur. Hire somebody that you only think you got 20 hours of work for, but hire them for full time. It'll force you. You have to get out of the solopreneur mindset because you're going to go, oh my God, it's driving me nuts. I'm paying for these people and they're only working part time and doing nothing else. They're doing Facebook on my time. So how are you going to fill up their stuff? You're going to give them busybody work? No, you're going to give them work that's going to help your business grow and expand. Okay, that's going to force you to do it. So that alone will force you into it. The next thing, these things that you do, and I'm not saying being irresponsible with your money. I know times are tough or whatever, but the whole mindset of is, I'm going to save. Nah, it's not an entrepreneur mindset. That's not the way it goes. And don't confuse that with spend on flashy items and stuff like this. Spend on things that's going to move you into the direction where you want to be. If you can't afford it, if you've never flown first class before, by God, do it. You will never go back to coach again. And you'll see, you don't even have to interact or talk with nobody in first class. You'll just feel it and look at them, and they're different. I'm telling you, their hair is different. The way they keep their nails is different. The types of shoes that they wear is different. Their socks is, the way that they hold themselves, the way that they talk to the stewardesses, everything is a completely mindset different. Okay? You need to experience that if you never have before. I'm telling you, the whole back of the plane is like, it's total employee victimized mindset. You can totally feel it. It's like everyone all crammed up and it's like, people are fighting over where they're going to put their elbows on the shoulder. It's just like bullshit, man. You don't need to live that way. You need to open up and you need to do that. You need to feel that. If you can, then I would also, that's a great way to shift your mindset. Another way to shift your mindset, although it takes a little bit more, well, maybe not. Well, actually one first class ticket would probably cost as much as this, is join like a club. I don't mean like a fitness place where like there's a bunch of college kids like all sexy and lean working out. I mean, join a freaking club where like they hand out the big thick towels and they got the lush service and everything like this. So like the kind of club I'm talking about is like, if you can find it, it's like, they have like polo horses what they're playing. They got like tennis clubs there. This and there's only only the non-employee, the non-solopreneur can kind of do that. And anything else you can think along those lines, those are the best two examples I can think right now. But going out and buying a flashy piece of crap car is not getting you in that mindset. That's different. That kind of mindset is like, hear me, how cool am I? No, it doesn't get you into the mindset, because in that flashy car, what are you doing? You're just sitting there waiting for other people to look at you that don't give a shit about you. Okay, that's all that is. And that's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about being side by side, shoulder to shoulder with other people. You don't even interact with them, but you'll feel it, okay? I hope I made that distinction, so I'll move on. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping this up pretty soon. Betting customers, it's your reputation, yep. I like that. Yeah, LinkedIn, but we're not covering that right now. Okay. Adam on here, can we have a link where we can access a page to subscribe or train? Adam, you just need to contact support at callzoo.com. They'll take care of you. Thank you for your interest. Okay, do you classify these workers as employees or contractors if you provide all the tools and processes as they are contracted for the IRS? Okay, good. Bruce, I'm not a CPA, but I can tell you things that my CPA tells me, but maybe different for your situation. How's that? Fair enough? Okay. If you hire somebody, a contractor from outside the U.S., they're a contractor always. Confirm that with your CPA. But my CPA already confirmed it with me, but you need to confirm with yours. If you hire a contractor from within the U.S. and 51%, you need to consult with your U.S. CPA, but at the time it was 51% of the contractor's work comes from you, then they're your employee. Okay. Yes, going out to more expensive restaurants. That's also another fantastic thing. So, yeah, to get that mindset going, and that's a much more obtainable thing, right? Rather than spending $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 or even $6 or $7 grand for international flights for first class. Yeah, going out to a really, really nice restaurant. You dress up, you go out, you feel it, you're all around. Yeah, absolutely, that's a great one. Thank you for that example on the end of it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just make a last call for any questions. And we'll do a last call for questions. And if there aren't any other questions, then I'll go ahead and wrap this up. So if you have a question like burning desire question, like what? I just have to know this before the webinar ends. Now's the time to type it in. Alrighty, just need to type it in one spot. Okay, but thank you for the question. I'll go ahead and copy and paste it, and we'll put it right here in the slides for future reference. Bam, there we go. Okay, so what do you use to document your process on your team? For example, wiki or a Word document. It doesn't matter as long as it's protected from the outside world, as only as you and your team has access to it. So you could use a private protected wiki. You could use something as basic as your own any URL with a WordPress on it, and you just password protect the pages and posts. That's as simple. You could also use a WordPress site, anyone. You could use a subdomain of your own site. Like you could put like a team members dot your domain and have a subdomain, and then you could install in one of the modules there. I've got a plugin for a free plugin that gives everybody a username and password to access. You could do something like that, or just if you don't even want to complicate it that much, just start off with just password protect pages and posts, and just give them all the same access to it. This is easy as that. Once you get employees and income generated in, then you can look for a little more investment in there. But just keep it simple and free to start out with. So that's a good question on that. And what you want to do in the beginning is you have to create your own systems, folks. You have to create your own systems. So I'm forcing you. Well, not forcing you. I'm challenging you. Okay, no one's forcing you to do anything, because if you force somebody to do something, you push and they push back harder. I'm challenging you to retool your business as how can I create systems? How can I McDonaldize my business, right? McDonald's is a master at this on here. If you're coming to McDonald's and you get hired, you're going to start at, fries. And you're going to probably work at the fries, just doing fries, 8 hours a day. That's it. They're going to tell you exactly how many fries to put in that basket, right? They're going to tell you exactly how to heat the oil, so you don't have to question nothing. Do I do this at 165 or 170 or 1? There's no question, right? It's normally just like a green and a red button, right? Green on, and then probably a button turns on when it gets warm enough. That's it. And they put it in, and the minute that they put it in there, there's another that sets off another timer that stops it, like starts beep 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 when they're done. So it's so loud that it's like, and they're not allowed to leave their station during the work hours, so they have to just immediately pull it out, and then they're told how many times they kind of got to shake it to get the oil off. They shake it like 3 times before they turn it over into some other bin, and then how many salts, that little salt shaker. Do you think it's up to them? Like, oh, we'll do 5 salts. Oh, no, we'll do 2 salts. Oh, no, people ask for light salt, so I'll just do light salt. No, they don't do that. They create systems. All right, it's like, and watch them sometime. Think about systems and start watching them. Think about like an entrepreneur, not a solopreneur, not an employee. How many shakes am I going to put in? It's going to be, watch them. They do 3 shakes. 1, 2, 3. And they set that darn thing down. That's it. And you want to create systems like that in your business and stuff. You can't just hire somebody and expect them to just like, just do this. Just watch this and do that. You got to set the initial stage for them on here. So that's how you do that. This really is the same kind of question on here. What do you use to document your process for your team? On here, we use, it's the same question, the Word document. Google Docs is fine. It's whatever you want to use. I mean, Google Docs is free, so use it. It's fantastic. Is your incorporating course still available? If you mean like the Hong Kong stuff, you just need to contact my staff. Alrighty, that's it. I hope you found some value in that. And so we'll just kind of wrap it up there. Just some final thoughts on that end of it. Is really what we're trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is get you out of the mindset of an employee, which likes systems. They like to come to work. They like to know where the coffee machine is. They like to know when their breaks are, how many breaks they can take, when they can take their lunch, when they can take their vacation. You see what I'm saying? They like the step-by-step stuff. You got to get the heck out of that, man. You got to get into vision and whatever it takes, and like just fire, aim, shoot mentality. Okay, you have to get into that, and hire the people to clean up the storm that you just made, and I would say most of you are in between the entrepreneur mindset and the solopreneur, which there is no difference. The only difference is that one works from home and one doesn't. So you have to get out of those steps, and then you have to get into the I'm creating systems. I'm creating a vision to employ other people who are really good at what they do to provide value to consumers, and money follows value. And that's what you do. You don't do anything else. You don't build blogs. You don't do any of this kind of stuff. And the other greatest thing, the other fear that I hear out there and that you need to overcome is, I don't have enough work. That's nonsense. If you really look at this model that I'm teaching, you can have someone full time. It's like no problem. And then you are just focused purely on getting the business. That's it. And you can just grow this thing because there's just too many cities, too many backlinks, too much stuff to do that you don't need to be doing this kind of stuff. You can hire somebody for, seriously $600-700 a month. And quite frankly, you could go out in the States and even the UK and get a part-time job that would pay you for that employee. And then when you're at that other job, you could just mindlessly be, it's usually mindless work. So you could be thinking about how you could be managing those people better and creating more systems in place. And it would just be a matter of a very, very short time before it would be producing income. And then you'd be thinking about, darn it, I should have had 2 other employees in the pipeline. You should be, look, good HR, the only people that know about this kind of stuff, and I don't from experience, but I know from talking with others, is that when you work for a big company and you're like in some kind of upper management level, they have an internal HR department, human resources, and their full-time job, and it never ends, is hiring the best, is going out there looking for the best and hiring the best, because they know that hiring the best takes months to do. So if you're thinking right now, it sounds kind of good, Chris, I like everything you said, but I'm just really not ready for it. Guess what? You need to start now, because I guarantee you, when you talk to that first person, which is going to take weeks and weeks and weeks to find, it just does. I'm sorry. It's just a fact of life. It's not me. It's not the Philippines. It's every country in the world. Superstars are busy, and superstars are not just readily available. You might get lucky, but that's an outliner. When you talk to somebody like this, you're going to get so excited. You're going to be like, oh, I don't want to lose them. I want to hire them like right now. Oh my God, I got to find them work. I think I got maybe 10 or 15 hours work. No, I got to find them more work. That's what's going to happen. I guarantee you. I guarantee you with 1,000% certainty. So get into the entrepreneur mindset. Don't get into all this wiggly woo, mindset of whatever. There's all kinds of, I don't know what I want to call it, mental masturbation out there that you can get into and listen to for hours, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It just keeps you on the freaking treadmill. What you want to really do is start thinking this is real brass tactical stuff you need to be doing. Okay. Now, so many places I could go with this. So I'm going to just continue for a while longer. I know I was going to say I was going to end it, but I think this is important to point out, because I guarantee you some of the mindset out there right now is, oh, well, if that's what it takes, I'm done. I can't do it. I'm done. If that's what it takes, I can't do it. You know what? That's the victimhood mentality. That's not the entrepreneur mentality. That's the victimhood. It's like, no, this is just too much work. I can't do it. I thought I could always do this myself. It would be my little lifestyle business, blah, blah, blah. So it's just not for me. I'm just going to ignore it. In fact, I'm going to ignore everything because it's just too much. And I could never afford to hire somebody and so on and so forth. And you know what? That's such the wrong mindset on here. Okay. If you're really thinking that way, I challenge you to think halfway that way. And team up with somebody in the group and say, hey, I found an outstanding person. Let me send you the interviews that they said, the voice ones, and we can split them. How's that? How's that for a compromise? That will at least get you out of the freaking employee solopreneur door. You'll have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? And then, I mean, you'll just grow. It's just like so crazy. So we interviewed a couple of our internal members, superstars, and one of them was completely relaxed on the kind of Skype interview, just completely relaxed. Like, yeah, I do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I've got 3 employees, and oh yeah, I forgot I got 2 other part-time, There's a reason why. so relaxed. Out of all the people that were at the event, there was one person that was super relaxed and everything was hunky-dory and fine, could get a lot done. And they did. They got tons of shit done. You know why? Because they didn't do it. Because they had a VA, a superstar. They hired the dream team. They hired the one dream team player. It is the most important. I can't emphasize this enough. It's so important. And if you're still kind of stuck in the mindset, well, I could see myself doing this, but it's only 15 hours a week. It's only 20 hours a week max. Then go out there today, finish your job resume, submit it, and I'll have my team posted this up in the members area and stuff in the next 3 to 4 hours, with all the slides and stuff like that. And then just take action on that and do that. And then you have to create the systems for them to work in. You gotta let them know, because employees like systems. Okay, well, what happens is that people go out and they hire people and they go like, you know what, I'll just hire them and tell them to watch this course and whatever. No, good employees don't like that. Good employees get all stressed out because that's too entrepreneur for them. And what do? They get up and they just disappear. And how many stories have you heard that happening? Oh, I tried to hire VAs before, and geez, they just don't work. They just cut up and disappear one day. You know why? Because you're the fault. You didn't hire correctly. You did not put the right systems in place. You got to put systems in place. Employees like what? They like step by step exactly what to do. Step by step, here's how I get measured whether it's a good job or bad job. This is what I do. These are the days off that I get. These are my sick pays. They like all that stuff. That's what they need, okay? They need that security. Why? Because it's been built into their whole system of reality through school and higher education and college. What you're going to find here is that the vast majority of VAs from the Philippines have got a master's degree or higher. They're totally perfect for this, but only if you provide the system for them. Don't expect them to be a entrepreneur or solopreneur. They're not that. Otherwise, they'd be out there busting ass, and they're not. They're looking for a job. That's what they're trained to do. They would never think in a million years to open up their business. And just think for a second how realistic that is. How many people have you spoken to, your family members, your friends, your coworkers, of what you're doing right now? And what kind of reaction did you get? You got the employee mentality back in your face that like slapped you right across the face and then did a knee into your gut and said, you can't do this. Are you crazy? Stay here, get promoted, keep with your health care, because if you got to work on your own, you got to pay for your own health care. That's the mentality. You got to pay for your own health care. It's just so insane. Anyways, Chris Winters signing out. Talk to you on the next webinar. Bye.